All right, welcome to Better Than Yesterday. I'm Adam Churchman here with my homie Oliver Saunders.
What up?
Happy to have you guys here. Hope you're enjoying the season of episodes so far.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about something that I think is real for everyone, whether it's your career, whether it's your life goals, no matter what you're dealing with, you're going to have setbacks and disappointments in life, and you can't let it derail you from where you're going.
Absolutely. Could you start off with a time or a setback that you had that turned into a blessing?
Yeah, for sure. I think, so actually it's funny enough. So probably, I think it was 2022, I had double hernia surgery.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucked, man. It sucked.
Yeah.
And,
this is the real life for podcast. This is real life.
Yeah, real life. Yeah, it sucked. Like I was down. So I had just started trying to get myself into shape, get into a good routine. Yeah. And then wham. Hey, you're on the couch and you can't lift anything over 20 pounds. And I'm sitting on the couch and I am feeling like pity party to the max for me.
Yeah.
I was like, because my journey from a health perspective is like I went from 210 pounds drinking too much. I cut like 60 pounds, dropped a bunch of weight. Yeah. And then, through COVID, everybody kind of
everybody blew up. Yeah. I know. Yeah. I remember what happened during
DoorDash,
COVID.
skip the dishes.
I was looking about six
mean?
months pregnant during COVID, so I understand.
Yeah. So like I gained an extra 20, 25 pounds or whatever, and I had just started realizing like, I got to get myself back into shape. Got myself into a healthy routine, and whoom. Okay, bro, you've got surgery. And so I'm sitting there down and out on myself, feeling like I can't catch a break. And Eliza used that time to kind of kick me in the ass a bit. Yeah. And that's when she first brought up the idea of me doing personal development, like life coaching and stuff like that. She's like, you ever think of doing this online? And I was like, no. No. Right. I'm like, I don't even have a computer. I just have a phone. Like, no, I haven't been thinking. She's like, you should think about it. Like, you've turned your life around. Like, maybe you can help. Right. And like, okay. Right. And so that created, sitting on that couch, feeling sorry for myself, getting that kick in the ass a little bit to be like, stop being like a little wuss about this stuff. Right. I turned my life around. I got myself working out once I could. Yeah. Sharing positivity all the time, and I used it as for real as an accountability to myself. Right. Like it was something that as I was sharing it to try to help other people, it was actually helping me. Right. And from that everything spun. I mean, I think part of the reason that we're sitting here is because I started to shift my mindset. And you know what I mean? Like I would not have become who I am today if I didn't get that kick in the ass when I was sitting in that moment thinking I can't catch a break. Right. And now here we are. Yeah. What about you?
Oh man, I've had a lot of setbacks. I've had a lot of setbacks. I could remember a time, and this is kind of crazy, but I remember a time that I was hanging out with a couple of friends, and we had gotten into some trouble with the police, and I went to jail, and my friends kept hanging out, and they were out, and one of my friends got killed that night. Wow. And it's a trip because if I had not been arrested, I would have been with my boy, and you know what I mean? And so it's like that was a setback that, without even knowing, was a hidden blessing. I don't want to say a hidden blessing because you know what I mean? But,
no, I know.
But it's just it's a trip, man. And so how do you when you see that something is going not as planned? Yeah. How do you address that situation? How do you look at that situation?
So I generally have a few ways that I kind of look at it. I think when something goes wrong, or you're disappointed, or there's a setback in life, it is absolutely okay to be bummed out about it. You can be pissed off. You can have whatever that feeling is. Yeah. You just can't stay there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so the first starting point is that I always allow myself to feel disappointed.
Which is normal, right? I mean, you have to, right.
Right. So that's like the starting point, because I find if I just pretend that I'm not this, what are you doing?
Right,
Like,
right.
you're allowed to be bummed. Like, you don't have to pretend it's perfect.
Right,
You
right.
don't have, and there's no shame. Like, there's no shame in saying things didn't work out.
Right.
Like, I have to get over the idea that failure is failure, and not, like, really failure is a precursor to success.
I agree. I think it's all the way that you decide to look at things. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I think that whenever you go through something, if you learn something from it, whether it's positive or negative, then it wasn't a wasted lesson.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this even go back to on one of the other episodes where I was talking about, you could be in a situation with somebody, you could be like, oh, that's something that I like, and that's something that I would like to do again, or that's something that didn't work for me.
Right.
I'll stay away from that.
Yeah.
And so as long as you're willing to, I think that we are able to make positive out of every situation
Me too.
that we come across. I think that it's just up to that person and their mind state at that time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously there's days where, it's easier done where you're like, you know what, fuck, that sucks, but whatever, we're gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
And then there's some times where it's just like, man, that fucking sucked. You know? But I think that one of the realest things that you said is feeling that emotion.
Yeah.
You can't not act like it's not happening. You can't act like everything is all good, because that's
Right.
not right. It's going to drive you crazy at the end of the day.
And if you were hoping for an outcome and it doesn't, don't pretend that you weren't hoping for a different outcome.
Right.
Like,
Right.
It's okay.
Right. I just say don't give up.
Right.
You know what I mean? If whatever you're doing, you're working on, my dad always used to tell me that no means asking a different way. Right. So when I realize situations, it's like, even if you don't get the outcome that you expected at that time, if that's not what you wanted, you could still work for it. You can still continue to go.
It doesn't mean never.
Just take a different approach.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's that saying that insanity is doing the same thing but expecting a different outcome, right?
Yeah.
So you can't take steps A, B, and C, and then you think you get to D, and then you do C, B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might have to do C, B, A.
Right.
You can't do A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C.
It's not working.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you might have you might have the blueprint.
Yeah.
You might have like the things, but you might need to switch this here, switch this here, switch this here.
Yeah.
And just knowing that is, I think, part of half of the battle, because nobody gets everything right the first time.
No. Never.
A lot
I
of
don't know
people-
a single person.
Right.
If you talk to any successful person, none of their stories, like this whole idea of like an overnight success, isn't real.
No.
There's no one who's achieved real success that hasn't fallen on their face at least a few times.
People have fallen on their face. People have had doors shut on them.
Right.
People have had their friends, their people that they count on, say, I don't believe in you. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to work. You know what I mean? And you know what? And you can't, and that's also goes back to sharing ideas, things with people that are like-minded and stuff like that, because you might have an idea that might be too big for somebody else, and they might not see it for themselves. They might not think that it's even possible.
Yeah.
So they might try to downplay what you're doing, and that's you can't allow that to happen. You know? Did you?
So you hit on something really, and I think I've so my wife has just released a book, right?
Yeah.
Her espresso martini book.
Hey,
shout out Eliza, go buy it, everybody.
Yep.
Shameless
Go
plug.
get it. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it.
But so one of the things that I observe is the support that you get. Not everybody is going to believe in you, and you sort of referenced that. There's like, not everyone is going to think that your idea is great. They might slam the door in your face. They might not buy your book. They might not share this podcast, right? And you have to be okay. You can't allow that disappointment. Listen, am I disappointed if the people closest to me don't support me and share my shit and do it? Yeah,
which is normal,
fucking
right?
bummed.
And you feel that, and you can feel that.
Yeah,
you know
and
what
you
I mean?
can feel that.
You can feel
but
that.
Doesn't stop.
Is it going to let you? Right? Are you going to let it stop you from doing what you have to do?
Absolutely not.
Are you going to? Right?
Because it's not their dream.
Right.
It's my dream.
Right.
So if they don't get it, they don't get it.
Right.
I got it.
Right.
You got it.
Right. And you know what? It's crazy because and that's something that you have to learn. And I had to learn that the hard way. Like I said, I'm a very social person. I'm a very, when I think about an idea, I want to tell people, I want to da-da-da. And it's funny because over the years, I've sort of realized, and you sort of get like this layer of like skin where you sort of get rougher and tougher because you're like, you know what? It's okay. You see that people that you don't even know will support you more than people that you know.
Yeah.
And that just goes back to the fact where people, like I said, when you start somewhere in the same with somebody and you start going a little bit more, you start making progress, that makes them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the easier thing is to try to pull you back than to do whatever you're doing to take those steps to go as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's
How do you come to peace with like how do you that's one thing if it's like a career setback or whatever that you have more or less some control over how you like, okay, maybe I need to dig in and put more hours in at work, or maybe I have to get this schooling or this education so that I can increase my salary or whatever.
Right.
Like, you have some control over that. And yeah, my boss sucks. He didn't give me the raise. But ultimately, there are things you can do to make that situation better for yourself.
Yeah.
How do you overcome the disappointment of not being supported by the people you care the most about?
You know what? That's rough. That's rough. For sure rough. And I would just have to say that I am lucky that I have a good support system.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few people that I'm able to bounce ideas off of and stuff like that, and they are supportive. But unfortunately, it's more the other way. And at this point in life, I just sort of think of the bigger picture. Whenever I feel like lost or whatever, I think the bigger picture. I think, am I okay with what I'm doing? And do I know what I'm doing is for a purpose, is for a cause, it's for my kids, it's for something down the line? Then it makes it okay. You don't have to support me. You don't have to. I'm gonna do what I have to do to get this done because I know that it's the right thing to do and the thing that I'm on. I guess there are days where but you know what? I think it's just been over time for me that I've just sort of seen it. You know what I mean? I've seen it. I've seen that people that you don't know will support you more than people that you do know. And it's crazy. And I think that once I sort of just got the whole logic behind it, the fact that, like I said, people don't want to see you continue to move and continue to grow if they're not. You might tell an idea to somebody and they might tell you that might not even work because and they're not even thinking about you doing it. Mm-hmm. They're thinking about themselves doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so without even them thinking, they're like, oh no, I couldn't even do that. I wouldn't even try to do that. So why would you even try to do that?
Right.
And that's why you have to protect your energy. That's why you have to protect your thoughts and your ideas. And you can't share them with anybody because then you're opening that door to that negativity, that people talking down, and it's crazy because I saw a thing the other day, and it said a lot of people who are successful, most people didn't believe in their dream. Yeah. Most people that are successful didn't even share their dream with everybody else until it came about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, even with this podcast, we've obviously, marketing, we hinted at the podcast and we're building it up. How long have we been working on this podcast before we even said anything about it live?
Right.
I talk with people all day. I was at the gym today. People are like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing today? What are your plans? And maybe two people I said, oh, I'm going to shoot my new podcast. Right. Because at the end of the day, I know that I might be like, oh, I'm going to shoot my new podcast. Somebody's out there like, oh man, just thinking negative.
Another podcast?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? To be real, I'm going to do it whether you like it or not. Yeah. It's going to be great whether you like it or not.
And it fills my spirit. I feel good. One of the things I think it might even be in the Bible, where it's like a prophet gets no glory in his hometown. Yeah. And I think it's the familiarity factor, right? Like everybody that I know knows me.
Right.
Right. And so they're like, Adam?
Right.
Adam. And Adam, the guy that I used to hang out with, is going and spreading positivity on a podcast.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. And they're like, and they're like, wait, we grew up in the same town.
Yeah.
We have the same advantages, but he's hopping on flights and going to a different country and recording podcasts. And instead of an insecure person would see that, instead of saying, hey, he did it, that means I could do it too.
Right.
Let me come
That's
up
the
with these
mindset.
ideas, and I'm going to do it too. He
Right.
just showed me that I could do it.
Right.
And that's what a person that's secure
Yes.
and motivated.
Yes.
An insecure person will be like, oh, well, he must have knew somebody, or he must have did this.
Yeah.
They start making excuses for you
Right. Yeah,
just to
yeah.
make them feel
Right.
better in their own skin.
Right.
You might not even run into somebody that's like, oh, I can't believe he's doing that. They might be talking bad about you right now. You have no idea. You're not going to let it affect you.
Well, and that's just it. And I think that's the bottom line of like, how do you overcome the disappointment if you're not, when it comes to the relationships
Yeah.
in your life, is that you can't let it stop you.
You can't.
You just got to you've got to keep going.
Right. I remember when I was younger, my parents would say to me that you could count the number of true friends on one hand. And when I was younger, I was like, I don't get it.
My dad says that too.
I was like, that's my boy.
People don't have a lot of friends.
Right. That's my boy. That's my boy. That's my boy. But you know what? But at the end of the day, when you're really down, who are you going to call? You got a couple people.
got a
So
handful.
those are the people that you ride with. Those are the people that you check in on. Those are the people that check in on you.
Yeah.
Everybody else, like, you know what I mean? And that doesn't mean you be rude to anybody or cut it. You know what I mean? But you just realize what it is. That's your tribe.
Yeah.
You stay with that tribe. You guys help each other move forward in life.
Yep.
Because unfortunately, everybody else doesn't get it, and it's unfortunate and it's human to be like, man, I wish they were rooting for me and everything. But at the end of the day, when you realize you're doing it right, you're doing the right thing, you're making the right steps, the people that genuinely care about you are happy with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Nobody else can really tell you anything.
Dizzy Wright, I think, has a line where he's like, I never lose, I only win or learn.
Right.
And I'm
right.
like-
and he's saying that basically you could take any, and that's not saying he doesn't lose, because there are
Right.
situations that haven't gone his way.
Right.
But instead of saying, oh, I just took an L, he's like, you know what? I learned from that, and I'm going to change it up and switch it and move
Right.
it
Now
into
it's a
something
win.
else. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I think that is a very powerful skill to have. Because if you could take any negative, anything and turn it into, and it may not, you can't, maybe sometimes, not all the time, you could turn a negative into a positive, but you could take a negative and make it not negative.
Yeah, right.
Anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it might not turn into the best situation, but it could not, only if you allow it to be the worst, it will stay the worst.
Yeah, and it's a mindset thing at that point, because it's like you could look at that thing and be still super paralyzed by it and bummed out and disappointed by it.
Right.
Or you could learn from it, and even if it doesn't win, if you learn something, it's at least not terrible.
Right.
Not negative.
Right.
Yeah.
So what before we wrap, what would you say is one of the most powerful things for dealing with disappointment? What would you say?
Oof. You have to trust you trust yourself. Trust where you're going. Trust
I think you
the
hit it right.
vision that you have for your life, and it doesn't mean there won't be setbacks or won't be disappointments. But if you trust that thing has been put in your heart for a reason,
Yes.
then you can handle any of those setbacks.
Right. And I also think that you have to realize setbacks happen to everybody.
Yes.
You could be a billionaire, you could be a millionaire, you could be broke, you could be, you know what I mean?
100%.
There's things that are not going to go your way, unfortunately. The way
Yes.
that you decide to deal with it is what separates people.
Absolutely.
I would
true.
have to say.
Yeah.
I would have to say. Better Than Yesterday podcast, Adam Churchman, Oliver Saunders. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. Tune into the next episode.
Take care, guys.